You got me. I can't resist it. I have to make a video about it. And I'm so sorry. Let's get straight into it. Poch Out, Mudryk. Why hasn't he been starting enough? He has played about 900 minutes total in the entirety of the season. I saw a stat earlier on. I think it was about 4 games in his entire Chelsea career that he's completed the 90 minutes. He hasn't done that today, but he's played 89 minutes. And I feel that it's a bit of a turning point. I feel like it's a bit of a moment that we need to give him a little bit of props. And so I'm going to do that in this video. And I think you lot have been on this journey with me. I think you all have seen the potential of Poch Out. Yes, he's a raw player. Yes, he makes mistakes. Yes, he gives the ball away. And in fact, he gave the ball away more than a player like Raheem Sterling today, who I'm constantly on the back of. But it's not just about that, is it? It's about whether they can contribute with key passes, whether they can get involved in the play, whether they can do something mercurial, something unknown, something different. And I feel that this guy just does that. I was looking at the stats, Understat, brilliant website. It gives you the data of key passes, XG, expected assists, that sort of thing. And I looked at Poch Out stats about key passes per 90. And you've always got to look at it per 90 because this guy isn't on the pitch that often, is he? And look at that. You look at it now and you see Reece James, number 1. Cole Palmer, number 2. Ben Chilwell, number 3. Poch Out Mudryk, number 4. He's above players like Gusto, Gallagher, Sterling, Madueke, Jackson in terms of key passes per 90. He is one of those players that you know when he's on the pitch, he's going to be doing something. And yes, as I say, he could give it away. But my God, does he contribute? And I just want to see him playing more. And I know you are all thinking very similar. I know there are people questioning how good he is going to be. And look, I think there's been a lot of people saying that he should go on loan. And I laugh at that because, let's be honest, he goes elsewhere. If he goes to Bundesliga or Serie A, he absolutely tears it up. We look like we really miss him. We end up bringing a player to replace him. And it just doesn't work. And we're on this constant cycle. And so for me, you saw today, he started at number 10, a position that he isn't really, associated with or known for, and he still shows his quality. I think this week has told us a lot about this guy. The fact that there are these rumours that he could have still joined Arsenal, he still wants to play there, Arsenal is still interested in signing him. So, if a team right up there challenging for league titles wants this guy, how was he not good enough to play for 11th place Chelsea? Just make it make sense for me. Just please make it make sense. It just doesn't compute. It just doesn't. And I was looking at the background of Poch Out Mudryk earlier on. Ukrainian Player of the Year 2021. Shakhtar Donetsk Player of the Year 21-22. 2 years in a row. There must be something there. Like, he can't just suddenly become absolutely shit because he plays for Chelsea. Yes, we've ruined players. We do that all the time, mainly with number 9s. But we can't keep doing that. And yes, the recruitment guys have made mistakes, but I don't think he's one of them. I really don't. And yeah, he can be infuriating. There were moments today where I just thought, yep, you've made the wrong pass, you've moved in the wrong way, you haven't pressed in this moment. But name me another player of his ilk that isn't doing something like that. They can't all be hitting the ground running. I do think you've got to harness the qualities that this guy has, harness his raw talents and coach them out of him. For me, if I was Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff, I would be dreaming of a player like this. A player that has unbelievable technical attributes, who can thread a pass. He's not just a pace merchant. We've seen that. He can do a very adequate cross. He can put a ball in very, very well. He can do through balls. He can beat players 1v1. He can use his acceleration and use his pace, which ultimately are probably one of his primary skills, but they're not. It's not just that. And he can also get a shot away, and he does that very adequately and quite often as well. So just coach him. Just get some technical guys around him, get some experienced players in and around him as well, and improve him. Take those silly moments where he gives the ball away or he doesn't make a run and improve those. Get your arm around him. He's a confidence player. Make him confident. I think when you saw that goal go in, you saw a different side to Mudryk tonight. And yes, there wasn't elements where he completely tore the game up against a championship opposition. You can only beat what's in front of you. We managed to scrape the win against Leeds United. But there were moments where he really did look good. There were so many crosses that I saw that came in. Jackson had one where he headed it right into the goalkeeper. There were loads of other moments. There were cutbacks to Enzo, where Enzo ended up basically sort of running into the advertising hoardings. You know, there were moments here. You could see that there were things that were coming good, right? And I think what you've also got to do is allow the players and tell the players to just back this guy. Put a ball forward, put a ball over the top, back him, let him use his pace and get the ball out to him, because he does things that other players just don't do. And look, I think it's quite obvious that he isn't the finished product. I've said that over and over again, but there is something there. And look, that's my rant over. I know, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think. I have a feeling that you're going to back him. I have a feeling that you're going to support me. But yeah, let me know. Would you want Mudryk in your starting 11 next season? Do you think he needs a loan? I'm really, really interested to see what you think. For me, if you're going to go on what I think, I would give him a run of games now until the end of the season, and I want to see him play more often than not. I'm happy to deal with the mistakes. Let's get on with it. And look, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm going to carry on going on about him because I just like the player. I just like the way he moves the ball around. And I like what he does on the football pitch. And I do see there's potential there. And if I keep seeing it week in, week out, and I see other players failing and not making the impact that they can do, I'm going to back him. And I think a lot of people will do as well. And I think what I now want to do is kind of chat about the rest of the game. Like, the game was a decent performance. We've not torn up any trees. Leeds are on a very good run of form. I think they'd only drawn 1 or 2 out of their last 8 games. You know, they were unbeaten in that time. They're high flying in the Championship. We did what we needed to do. The key thing that I would say here, and the reason why this win is important for us, is because the context. You know, coming off that cup final, there were a few things that you need to consider. Fatigue. The players were knackered. They played 120 minutes. And in fact, a lot of those players that did play 120 minutes, especially in key areas like central midfield, were on the pitch. And then you look at other things. Mentality. Losing a game like that when you've got one of the youngest squads that we've ever assembled at Chelsea Football Club, the mentality could have absolutely been toxic. The heads could have dropped. The confidence could have gone. And we could have lost it very easily. And you think, goal goes in. One of the first moments of the game. That could have been absolutely horrendous. You could have capitulated. We could have lost it. Yes, it took a last minute goal, but my God, did we need that goal to go in. And I have to say, big up to the boys. They dealt with the fatigue. They dealt with the mentality. They dealt with a lot of rotation as well. You know, bear in mind, we had a lot of players that couldn't potentially play that game straight away after that cup final. Gallagher was rested. Cole Palmer was rested. Chilwell was rested. Petrovic was rested, arguably. And yeah, by no means is that a vintage performance. Does it indicate that we are pushing forward and going to progress? Not necessarily. Does it mean that we can move forward slightly? Does it mean that we can grow? Does it mean that we can take the next step forward, try and beat Brentford, try and beat Newcastle, and try and get back to where we need to be, potentially? So let's see what happens in the next couple of games. Ultimately now, all I care about and all we care about is getting points and wins on the board. Going through, trying to get through to another final if we can this year, progressing in the league. If we can do that, Pochettino has a chance to stay. If we don't, he'll be gone and we'll be going through another transitionary year. But I don't want to keep talking about the pessimism. I don't want to keep talking about the down moments, because quite frankly, it's not helping anyone. It's not helping the players. It's not helping Pochettino, and it's certainly not helping the management structure, who deserve all of the pressure around them. What I wanted to do is talk about some positive moments here. And I have to say there were a few of them, individual players that I'm really chuffed for. Trevor coming on today, I think there's a very strong argument to say now that he's better than Dissect. You look at the mistakes that Dissect was making. I think, you know, Chalobah had a poor moment in one of the second goals as well, where the ball goes over the top of him. But if you look at it, Dissect isn't tracking his man either, and Chalobah is in the middle of 2. So I don't necessarily think you can blame him. But again, what a moment for him to come back in. A player that has basically been cast aside, basically will be sold in the summer, but comes in and plays very, very well. So I was chuffed for him. And I was also chuffed for Gallagher. You know, comes back in, knackered after those 120 minutes. Pochettino says after the cup final that he was absolutely knackered. And understandably so, because the guy has played pretty much every minute of football that he could. He's run more than any other player. And so I understand why he was knackered. But he comes on here, gets that late winner. And again, goals were always the issue that we were questioning with Gallagher. Can he score the goals in big moments? He's got a few recently, and you have to say massive congratulations to him. And yeah, the final one I'd say is Jackson. You know, a pretty tough game for him. Wasn't necessarily amazing, but that finish was really, really good. And I hope now that all of these boys start taking that momentum. So let's see. I think, look, for me, Pochettino will be under immense pressure for the rest of the season. I know that I haven't necessarily talked straight away after that cup final. I was streaming with Joey, I was on the kickoff, I was speaking to Charlie, I've been all over the place making content for you guys, but I wasn't on here. So let me give my very quick rundown of where I am with Poch. I'm Poching at the moment. I think until things take even more of a drastic turn, if we don't keep beating these teams, if we didn't beat Brentford, for example, didn't beat Newcastle, then yes, I could start to understand why the pressure would be on him. But until that point, I just think we need to give this guy a bit of time. He's had 34 games in charge. It's only 3 more than Graham Potter got, but he's got more time than Graham Potter has already. And I just think there is something there. If you can back him and you can improve these players and you can give him some strength in the summer with a few more additions that are experienced, then you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I also say, what other options are there out there? I don't think there are any other credible options that would take the job in the situation that Chelsea Football Club are in right now. And so you're better to stick than twist. And so that's my overwhelming perspective on it. Really interested to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments whether you are Poch in or Poch out at the moment. And while you're there, check out Aveste, the home of independent streetwear. It's my clothing brand. I've spent the last 2 years searching for clothes on the internet, bring them all together in one place so you guys don't have to spend time searching. Check the website out. Let me know what you think about that. And if you do pick up an order, let me know in the comments and I will say personal thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll talk to you again soon in the next one.